Entering Infinity here, back today with another episode of our Pokemon Series 8 VGC Ranked Battles. Before we get started today, I just want to go ahead and remind everyone what team we're going to be using, and this is the team that I built recently, and it's a Kyogre Rain team. I did make one slight change since the previous two episodes with the team by switching out Tornadus in for Whimsicott, and I'll explain that as we go through the team. So first up we have Kyogre with the Choice Scarf. Again, this is primarily to outspeed our really fast opponents and hit off a big water spout from turn 1. If we lead it to deal massive damage, it will outspeed Zacian, which is big, which I'm expecting to see a lot of, but I actually didn't see as many as I thought I would in the first two episodes. But we did actually run into that scenario, and we did actually pull it off perfectly. And Kyogre's carrying Water Spout, Ice Beam, Scald, and Thunder, and it's not only a great option to lead, but it's also a great option for the endgame as well. And to go along with Kyogre, our main Dynamax threats and special attackers are Kingdra and Zapdos. Kingdra has the Swift Swim ability, which doubles its speed in the rain, and it's holding a Life Orb to deal extra damage, and it's carrying powerful moves like Hydro Pump, Draco Meteor, and Hurricane. Zapdos is Weakness Policy with Static ability. Its attacks are Thunder, Hurricane, and Heat Wave. And this will work out nicely if we were to run in certain situations like we did before, where we set up a Protect maybe, take a super effective max attack, get off the Weakness Policy, then strike back even harder after the boost, or get up screens with Grimmsnarl for protection. That way those super effective attacks do even less damage, activate our Weakness Policy, and then we try to sweep with the Dynamax Zapdos. Our supporting Pokemon are Hitmontop, Grimmsnarl, and Tornadus. Hitmontop is our Intimidate user with Focus Sash. It has a Fake Out, Quick Guard, Mach Punch, and Close Combat. Then we have Grimmsnarl with Light Clay and the Prankster ability to set up our screens, and also Fake Tears to help support our special attackers by dealing extra damage, since Fake Tears lowers the special defense. And finally, to round out the team, we have Tornadus, who's carrying Hurricane, Tailwind, Rain Dance, and Taunt. The Tailwind, again, is just to match our opponent's Tailwind if they have it. We have Rain Dance, which is kind of the big tech that I wanted to add to the team, because there's certain situations where I know that the opponent will have, for example, Sun, which would really be problematic for our Rain team. So by having the Tornadus to manually set Rain without having to switch in our Kyogre to potentially take a hit by switching in, this allows us to still preserve it while being able to control the weather. So for example, if we lead Kyogre and Tornadus, the opponent could switch in their Torkoal, for example, turn 1, change their weather, and then we use Rain Dance, override the weather, and then get off a Water Spout, and we could potentially win the game just off of that play. And then we also have Taunt in our back pocket in case we're running up against any Trick Room teams as well. So overall, I think we've been doing pretty good with this team. We're 8-2 so far. It's not perfect, but it's getting the job done, and we'll see how it goes. And I might feature it in a few more episodes, but we'll eventually switch up and try out some other restricted Pokemon. And another thing I was thinking about changing on this team is potentially switching out the Weakness Policy on the Zapdos for an Assault Vest or maybe a different item, but for now this is what we're going to go with. And I also added a rental code and made it public in case you're interested in trying out this team for yourself, and if you do, let me know how you do. So let's dive into today's episode. Alright, time for our first match of today. They're running a team that's almost identical to the team that just won the tournament this past weekend. So the only thing that's different, I believe, is they have an Urshifu on the team. So I think here we definitely want to lead a fast Fake Out user in Hitmontop, because they won't have any way of stopping that. And then I think Kyogre would be a decent lead here. Let's lead our Kyogre, Hitmontop, and in the back have Zapdos and Kingdra. Okay, so let's see what they lead here. Regieleki, Kyogre, okay. So how do we want to start this? I think turn 1, if I was going for the Water Spout and a Fake Out into the Regieleki, Even if they max the Kyogre, I mean, we're going to outspeed with the Choice Scarf, and if Regieleki doesn't switch out, then we should pick up the knockout, which would be huge, because that's the biggest threat to our team. Okay, so they do commit the Dynamax. Oh wow, no. Wow, so they actually maxed the Regieleki, which was a really smart move, because that puts us in a really bad position now. Pretty much the worst thing that could have happened turn one, so I always assume that when I see Regieleki it's not going to max, and yeah, that was a really smart play by our opponent, so props to them for that play. That was really good. Now we're definitely in a really rough position now. And I honestly don't think we could even come back at this point from that, which is unfortunate. So here I think we're pretty much forced to Dynamax. I'm going to go for a Max Lightning into the Kyogre and go for, I think, a Close Combat into the Regieleki. Yeah, I really should consider the fact of them maxing this Regieleki, so that was really smart. And that does a ton of damage, which is really bad. Okay, so we do pick up the knockout on the Kyogre, but at this point I think it's probably too little too late. So they bring out Urshifu. I'm going to go for, I think we pretty much actually have to max guard here, just to live another turn, and even though we're probably going to get sucker punched, I'm going to go for a Mach Punch into, actually Close Combat into the Urshifu. Alright, good. So the Max Lightning goes into the Zapdos. And they Wicked Blow into Hitmontop. Yeah, I should have went for the Mach Punch, but I got a little greedy. Because then we could have broken a potential Sash, but okay. So here I want to go for a Max Airstream into the Urshifu, and I want to go for a Hydro Pump into the Regieleki. Oh nice, so we do actually outspeed the Regieleki. That's actually pretty huge. And we pick up the knockout. We get the Airstream off. And it is sashed. Okay. They Wicked Blow into the Zapdos. Do we get the para from the static? Yeah, that's really unfortunate, because we actually could have actually turned this around if I would have went for that Mach Punch instead of trying to go for a Close Combat. I think we actually could have won this, so it's disappointing. So is this the last turn of rain? Yeah, and this is the last turn of rain. So I'm kind of forced to go for an attack here. So we're going to go for a Hurricane to the Urshifu. And yes, yeah, it's just going to Sucker Punch, so we shouldn't be able to live this double up. Yeah, so tough game one. Started off poorly, turn one with the Dynamax Regieleki, but I actually could have turned it around if I would have went for a Mach Punch. Then Zapdos would have picked up the knockout there and would have been 2-on-1 against the Kartana, and we should have won that. So it's a little disappointing, but I should have played better turn one and factored in the Dynamax from the Regieleki. So it was really smart by my opponent, so they really deserved that one. Alright, on to the second matchup today. Okay, so they're running Rotom Wash, Azumarill, Urshifu, Moltres, Indeedee, and Mewtwo. So how do we want to play this? I think I want to lead Kyogre, Kingdra, and then in the back have Zapdos and Hitmontop. So we get to see another Mewtwo. Hopefully this time we learned our lesson and we'll make a better play. Okay, so they actually lead their Azumarill Rotom. Not too surprising. So even though their lead is completely anti-rain, I still think we could put on a lot of pressure early on. So I want to go for, could they have Ally Switch? That would be a problem. So I'm going to gamble that they don't have Ally Switch. So we're going to max Wormwind into the Rotom and go for a Water Spout. Alright, so let's see what they do here. So they Dynamax. It's interesting. It is. So I'm honestly not even that upset about that. As long as it doesn't max guard, I think I'd be okay with that. So it doesn't max guard, we get off the max Wormwind. Nice, that does 50% damage. And now this Water Spout, and we lower the Azumarill's attack, which is good. Now we're going to get off a nice Water Spout in the rain, even though it is resisted. Nice, okay, so get off a decent amount of damage. They go for Max Lightning into the Kyogre. And they pick up the knockout, that's okay. They go for the Play Rough into the Kingdra. Okay, so I want to bring out Zapdos. Alright, so now we have Zapdos. I think if you're Rotom, you kind of have to max guard here if you plan on living. So even if they do go for that, we will pick up the knockout with the Zapdos. So I'm going to keep them honest and go for the Wormwind into the Rotom. And then go for Thunder on the Azumarill. So they don't max guard, which is great. We get the Wormwind off, this should pick up the knockout. Excellent. So now their Dynamax is over, and I'm assuming they presumably have a Mewtwo in the back, but if we pick up a double knockout here, I think we could recover and be in a nice position. Because they don't have a way to overturn the rain, and we are outspeeding them right now. And even if they have Mewtwo, they're not going to outspeed us with the Kingdra in the rain. Perfect. So we pick up the knockout. So I think we're in a good spot right now. I'm pretty happy with how it's going so far. Even though we sacked the Kyogre, it got off the Water Spout, so I think that's fine. So they do get off the Psychic Surge, which is not the best because now I don't have a way to change the terrain. And they did just get a special defense boost, so I want to go for a max Airstream into the Indeedee and a Thunder into the Mewtwo. Okay, so do go for Follow Me, that's fine. So this should pick up the knockout after the 2 hits at least. But at least now with the Airstream, our Zapdos, wow, it took that really well. Our Zapdos will now outspeed the Mewtwo, which is good, but we are probably about to eat up a huge expanding force, which is not good. And our Hitmontop in the back does not fare well against this Mewtwo, so... Okay, we don't get the knockout, so now we're in a problematic spot. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so... that was not ideal. Yeah, so looks like we're taking the L here too. That's really unfortunate. Yeah, not being able to overwrite that terrain was really tough. So, I mean, this is over, but we'll just play it out and go for a close combat. Okay, so we get the knockout on the Indeedee, but it's all for naught at this point. No way we can finish this Mewtwo, so we'll play it out, or we'll play it out without forfeiting, I mean. Alright, so not off to a great start today, 0-2. Trying to think what we could have done better there. Considering how they led, I don't really think that we led all that poorly. I think we really needed to probably preserve the Kyogre there for the end game, knowing that they most likely had Indeedee and Mewtwo in the back, and we needed the spread damage from the Kyogre. So maybe there it would have been better to switch out the Kyogre turn 1 and try to preserve it in the back. That way when it came down to the Mewtwo and Indeedee, we at least would have had a spread move to cover for the follow me, but even then I'm still not sure if that would have been enough. But yeah, I think it's something I have to think about more when I watch it back, how we could have played that better. But I thought we were in a good spot, and then just that Mewtwo in Psychic Terrain with Expanding Force is just so broken. So and that I'm really impressed by how bulky that Indeedee was. Like, my attacks did nothing to it, considering it was a max airstream and a thunder. It barely did 75%, which is crazy, even though it had the Spadef boost, but still I didn't think it would tank that so well. But alright, as I said, this format is new to me, so gonna keep learning and try to just keep improving. So on to the next battle. Okay, so this is very interesting. They have a Blacephalon, a Kartana, Regieleki, Galarian Moltres, and I'm not even really familiar with that legendary. It might be a Kyurem. I don't really know anything about it. So I don't expect them to bring Blacephalon here. I think most likely my opponent's going to bring Regieleki, Kartana, that Kyurem, and the Tapu Fini. So I think I need to lead Fake Out User. So I'm going to lead Kyogre, Grimmsnarl, and then in the back have Kingdra and Zapdos. Okay, so they lead Galarian Moltres, Regieleki. So I'm fine with, I think, Water Spouting and going for a Fake Out onto the Regieleki. Be surprised if they let me do this easily, but again, I guess I should also cover for the potential max of the Regieleki, but alright, we're just going to go for this play. Hopefully I don't live to regret that. Okay, so they just protect on the Moltres, which is good, which means they're not Dynamaxing, which means we should get a knockout here, and if we knock out this Regieleki, we'll be in a really great position. Perfect. Okay, so we pick up the knock on the Regieleki. That's the biggest threat to our team. and this Moltres is still susceptible next turn, and now I can start getting up screens or going for fake tears. And our Kyogre is still at full health, which means we can still Water Spout. So I do like this position that we're in, because now they're on the back foot. So now I want to go for definitely another Water Spout. The question is, are they going to max this Moltres, or are they going to max the Kartana? And do I go for a Light Screen or a Reflect? I think I want to go for a Light Screen. They do commit their Dynamax, which is great because we still haven't used ours yet, so we're currently at the advantage because we did go for the Light Screen, so we're going to take their max move well. Okay, so Kartana detects, that's fine. That means we're going to take minimal damage this turn. We get our screen up, perfect. And I'm assuming it's probably going to go for an Airstream, but at least we'll deal some nice damage to this Moltres. Great, so we deal about 40%. They go for the Airstream. Doesn't do a ton of damage. And now I'm almost inclined to go potentially for a Dynamax, but I think I want to preserve the Kyogre. And I think we could stall out their Dynamax still, so I think I'm content with switching out into Zapdos and go for a Reflect. So they Leaf Blade into Zapdos. That does more damage than I would expect. And they Airstream as well. Perfect. So they don't even do 50% damage with 2 attacks, and now they've wasted another turn of Dynamax. They do get another speed boost, so now that is a bit of a problem, but I think we're pretty safe to go for... I'm going to protect the Zapdos and go for a Fake Tears into the Kartana. Wow, and they actually max guard, which is very bizarre. Oh, I guess, yeah, they could have been afraid that we would Dynamax, but considering they were outspeeding us and our Zapdos took a lot of damage, that was interesting, but we'll take those. Perfect, they just Air Cutter. We take minimal damage, and now their Dynamax is over and they didn't even pick up a KO. So I really like the position that we're in right now. So here I want to go for Thunder into the Moltres and switch back into Kyogre since they're not really targeting the Grimmsnarl, and I need to recycle that Fake Out. Okay, so they go for a Swords Dance, which is pretty scary. They Fiery Wrath. Okay, but we take that really well. We get the Thunder off into the Moltres. So we should pick up a KO. Excellent. Okay, so now they bring out the Kyurem. It does not have the speed boost. Rain is over. So I think we can go for a Heat Wave here and an Ice Beam. Ah, yeah, so they pick up the KO. So now this thing is getting pretty dangerous at this point. Perfect, we connect the Heat Wave. Nice, and we take out the Kartana. That was huge. Okay, so now I think that pretty much seals up this game. Not even sure what that just did. Bring out Grimmsnarl. So I think I want to reposition here, and I'm expecting them probably to protect to block the fake out. So I want to pivot into Kingdra and go for the fake out just to cover us this turn in case they don't protect. Alright, so they don't protect, we get the fake out off. Okay. So we still have 2 turns of light screen, 3 turns of reflect. So here I want to Dynamax and go for a Max Geyser just to get the rain up. And then we can go for a Fake Tears. So it's a little scary because I have no idea what this legendary does. But I think we're far enough ahead where it won't matter. Just in case it protects, I'd like to get the rain up. Max Geyser comes out. Perfect, and we just pick up the KO. Alright, so after our first 2 games were pretty tough, but I'm happy we were able to pull it back and pick up another win there. Hopefully we can continue playing well. Alright, so next team. So we have another Kyogre rain type team. They have pretty much counter rain team, so this is going to be a little difficult. So considering how anti-rain this team is, I think this is a Zapdos game. Question is, who do we want to lead with it? So I think Zapdos, Grimmsnarl looks nice here. And then having Kyogre and Kingdra in the back. So I'm a little concerned about a Mimikyu lead because my Grimmsnarl doesn't have any attacks to break the disguise, and I don't want to leave it sitting there. And I also don't want to waste a turn of Dynamax trying to break the disguise. And they do actually lead Mimikyu. I wonder if that has Ally Switch. That would be really problematic. Alright, so I'm going to go for a Max Airstream into the Virizion and go for a Fake Tears. Okay, cool. So they maxed the Virizion. I'm totally fine with that. I'm not sure if they're going for some kind of beat up strategy here. If we can get our attacks off, which we should pick up a KO here. So we get the Fake Tears off. That's great. They don't max guard. They are faster, so we'll see what they do here. They Rockfall, presumably into the Zapdos, which would be perfect, because that'll activate our weakness policy. Great. Now we get a Fake Tears, weakness policy, Max Airstream into the Virizion, and we could take out their Dynamax Pokemon turn 1, which would be huge. Awesome. Airstream comes out and picks up the KO. Excellent. Yeah, that's a great start. But like I said, I am a bit concerned about this Mimikyu because I don't have a way of hitting it right now, and I don't like leaving those on the field. But yeah, and it just goes for the beat up, so that's awesome turn 1. And if they just have their rain mode in the back, our Zapdos is gonna go right through them. Okay, so they bring out Heliolisk. So the question is, what is that ability? Because I think it has a dry skin ability. So I think I want to go for the Max Flare into the Heliolisk and set up a Reflect. Okay, so Flare comes out and picks up the knockout. Perfect. And now we overwrite the Sand, which isn't a huge deal, but it saves us the chip damage. And they do go for a light screen. Okay. So I think at this point I have to kind of just leave this Mimikyu here until the end game. But at this point we have such an advantage that I don't think it'll really matter. And it looks like it's a defensive set, so I could sit there and set up screens all at once. It won't really matter at this point. So now I'm good to Max Lightning Kingdra, get some terrain set up, and go for fake tears. Perfect, and our opponent just forfeits, which is understandable because there was really no way for them to get back into that game, so we'll take it. I think we played that perfectly, and I'm really happy with how that went. So 2-2 on the day. Alright, nice. So that puts us up to the Great Ball tier now. So we're moving up. We're at 2 wins, 2 losses for the day. I'll play one final game. Hopefully we end off on the win and end off on the high note. So, alright, so this team, Tornadus, Metagross, Arcanine, Yveltal, Raichu, and Tapu Fini. This team doesn't have weather control, which I like, so I'm pretty content to lead our rain mode, going under the assumption that this Tornadus can't use Sunny Day, which I forget if it has access to or not, but otherwise they can't control the weather, so I'm down to lead our rain mode, and then in the back have Grimmsnarl and Zapdos. Alright, so our opponent leads Raichu, Tornadus. So I think the Raichu's probably going to fake out the Kyogre, which I don't want. So I think I want to go for... I'll go for a Max Geyser into the Raichu and switch out into Grimmsnarl. Yep, so the Raichu goes for the fake out to the Grimmsnarl, and they get up the Tailwind. But I think we'll still be okay. Max Geyser comes out. Does this pick up a knockout? Okay, they are Focus Sashed. So I think there's a good chance they're probably going to switch out the Raichu here, assuming that I'm going to fake out into it. So I think I want to go for a Max Airstream and a fake out into the Tornadus. Hopefully I called that correctly. Yes, perfect. They switch out the Raichu. They bring out Yveltal. Okay. Nice, we get the fake it out, and if we pick up this KO, I think we'll be in a good spot. Oh, we don't. That's really unfortunate. Okay, so I think I'm okay with leaving this Tornadus here for now. I'm going to go for a Max Geyser into the Yveltal and get up a Light Screen. Okay, so they don't protect. We get the Light Screen off. We should outspeed now. Nice. Okay, so we get off big Max Geyser here. Hopefully pick up some nice damage. Excellent. So I did a good 60-70%. They get off an Icy Wind. It's okay. So now we're kind of back to neutral. And they go for an Oblivion Wing. It's not great, but it could be worse. So I kind of want to recycle the fake out here. So I think I want to get rid of this Tornadus so that it can't get up another Tailwind. And then I think I want to switch out into Zapdos. Because if it goes for another Oblivion Wing, at least we'll resist it. Okay, so they go for another Icy Wind. Really trying to get that speed control. And actually that activates our weakness policy, which is really nice. They go for the Oblivion Wing, hopefully into the Zapdos. Okay, it is into the Kingdra. It's going to continue to recover here. We get off the Hurricane. Pick up the knock on the Tornadus. It's really big. So now they can't set up another Tailwind. So once that Tailwind ends, we should outspeed our opponents, which it does. Nice. Now I'm assuming they're going to bring out their Raichu to get off another Fake Out. Okay, so they don't. They go for their Metagross. So here I think I want to protect. Let's see how much turns of. It's the last turn of rain. So I think I want to go for a Hydro Pump into the Metagross and go for a Thunder into the Yveltal. If we can knock out this Yveltal, we'll be in a good position. Sucker Punch. Oh my gosh. Of course they get the crit. Wow. And we missed the Hydro Pump. That's crazy. So that's a really, really tough turn for us there. Because even if we could have at least got off the Hydro Pump, we'd be in a little bit better of a position, but... Alright, so now we're going to bring out our final two. Okay, so now the million-dollar question is, what do I lock into with the Kyogre? So I pretty much have to Fake Out here on the Yveltal and go for... I think I'm just going to have to roll the dice on the Water Spout here because we really got to get off the damage. Okay, so we get the Fake Out off, which is great. And the Water Spout comes out. We don't pick up a KO. And now they get a Quake off, which is not good. Into the Grimmsnarl. We do hang on, so that's really big. Because now our Kyogre is still left untouched. So I think I want to get up a Reflect here. And we're going to go for another Water Spout. Ooh, and they go for... so now I don't think we're going to pick up a knockout. Oh, so that's tough. Oh, yeah, and the Metagross survives, so this is not great. And they get off another Quake into the Grimmsnarl, yeah. And now they're going to bring out the Raichu and use their Fake Out. That's so unfortunate. They're so close. So we're forced to go for the Water Spout. And yeah, there's the Fake Out. And now, unless they miss an attack here, now they get it off. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but we'll see. If this picks up the knockout, that would be huge. They do have, I think, 2 special defense boosts on the Metagross. So we get the Water Spout off. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Wow. What a game. Oh my god. Wow. That was crazy. I wonder if that was a damage roll, but holy cow. Wow. I'm so happy we won that one. That was huge. Oh my gosh, what an exciting match. So we do finish the day on a win. I think we lost the first 2, then went on to win the last 3 in a row, and then having the 5th game be that exciting is just so cool. So I'm really happy with that one. So I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for watching if you stayed till the end. Let me know what you thought of today's battles in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, if you want to see more of this content, and I'll catch you on the next one.